Okay, so what we have discussed in the previous class? Hello, what we have discussed in the previous class? Any one of you, please? Hello. So I need your response, students. What we have discussed in the previous class?
Computation of binomial coefficient.
Okay, computation of binomial coefficient. Then, what else we have discussed? What else we have discussed? Any one of you? Other than that, okay, binomial coefficient, that is fine. Anything else we have discussed? Little louder, I am unable to hear. Hello, repeat the statement. What did you say?
Pattern printing.
Very good. Okay, pattern printing, right? So printed the pattern there. We have certain star printing. I mean, star was given. So we are supposed to print a pyramid of the star. Okay, so in a different kind of pyramids. Maybe numbering pyramid. I wrote something like 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like this. Okay, so similar to that, today we'll talk something about again pattern printing itself, but we are now in this case we are going to construct what we call it as a Pascal triangle, right? Okay, so what is this Pascal triangle? You people have already studied this. Okay, so I'll just brush up that before I proceed with the display of the same thing. You already know. Okay, so if I look at any the linear equations there are any equations there. Okay, so if I write here, you already know you have something called as x plus y whole square, okay, x plus y whole cube, something like this, and so on. Okay, so first term I don't have anything here, so I can write anything there. So simply any number, okay, any variable raised to, okay, this is 1, this is 0 there. So whatever you write for this, so anything raised to 0 is always 1, we know that. Okay, so you will not worry about this much. So look at these things. Okay, what is the first thing? So you take anything, so anything raised to 0. Okay, so now this itself term is yielding me 1 there. Okay, so I call this as a coefficient over here. Say if I write here x plus y raised to 1. So what is your expansion for x plus y raised to 1? X plus y raised to 1.
X plus y.
Very good. Right? What are the coefficient of this?
1 and 1. X and
What are the coefficients of x and y? Why x and y are the variables? What are the
1 and 1.
coefficients of
1 and 1, ma'am.
Is it okay? 1 and 1, right? Agreed?
Yes, ma'am.
Say yes or no. Okay. Say if I write x plus y raised to square.
X square plus y square plus
X square.
2xy.
Say 2xy plus y square. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What are the coefficients of these things?
1 and 2.
1.
What? 1, 2, and 1. Correct now?
Yes, ma'am.
X plus y raised to cube. How do you expand this? X cube plus Hmm. If I'm
plus
not
y
wrong,
cube.
3x square y plus 3y square x or xy square, correct? Plus
Y cube, ma'am.
y cube. Is it okay? Is it the same thing that you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
expect out of it? Right?
X cube plus y cube
Agreed?
plus 3xy into x plus y.
Not x plus y. It is x square y plus xy square. Check it out. Because it is nothing but x plus y whole square into x plus y. And you already know this is x square plus 2xy plus y square there. And multiply this with x plus y. And if you multiply individual terms there, and one term will get it as x square and one term will get it as y square there. X y square and x square y.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
it okay? Okay. So look at this. Whatever value you got here, this is 1. So this is 1 here. So these are the coefficients. These are the coefficients. I'll write this as x and y. So it may be x or y because it's raised to power there. I mean anything raised to 0 there. So this is my x. Okay. So if I sorry x cube. This is sorry x square. This is my xy and this is my y square. So this is nothing but my x cube, x square y, xy square and y cube. Is it okay? So this is nothing but the expansion of x plus y raised to 4. So if you want me to write that x raised to 4, x raised to cube y. Okay, so this is I think x square y square. Then you have x y cube. Okay, then y raised to 4. Is it okay? You can check it out. You'll get the same answer what I'm writing here. 1x square x raised to 4 plus 4x cube y plus 6x square y square plus okay 4xy cube plus 1y raised to 4. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the same thing you got now. So 1, 3, I've shown 1, this is 1, this is 3, this is 3, and this is 1 again. I've written the same thing 1, 3, 3, 1. If you look at this 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. So if you go ahead with this 1, 1, 1, 1. Here it is only 1, so I've written it as 1. Agreed? Agreed, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So actually, usually when they wrote this, so how they have written, I'll just show it to people. First, they have taken 1. Okay. Then just they whatever is there, they have taken that on the left hand side. Then they have added this with this to get. I mean, what next? What they have done? They have just whatever is here. Okay. So that they have written over here. Okay, because you have only one that is present and they have just extended the same thing and the same thing they have kept on the right hand side also. Then they have just expanded this. Then what they have done? So this one is added with this to get the next value there. Then it is forwarded like this. Then this is as it is. Then this will be added. What is this? 1 plus 2 is? What is this? 1 plus 2?
3, ma'am.
3, no?
Three,
Okay.
ma'am.
So this will be added. 2
Yes,
plus
ma'am.
1 is? 2 plus 1 is?
Three, ma'am.
3. So this one
3,
as it
ma'am.
is. Right? One as it is. This is how they wrote the tree. And this became the Pascal triangle there. Okay. 1, 1, so as it is. And they have just pushed that into towards the right side also. Then this is 1. Then they have added these two to get this as 2 and this is expanded like this. Then this is 1. These two addition of these two yielded as 3. This is 3 and this is 1. Similarly, 1 as it is. Then these two is added 4. This is added 6. This is added 3. Sorry, 4. And this is yielded me 1 here. So are you getting the next tree there? And similarly, so this as it is, then add these two right here, 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 then expand this one on the other side to get the next row there. Is it okay?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, what are these things? Okay, these are nothing but the binomial coefficients. Okay, so if you look at these things, okay, so these are nothing but the binomial coefficients, right? So how I mean, what is the value that I'm going to take for this? Because I need to have, whenever I say binomial coefficient, so I'll be writing it as NCR. Correct, no? Then what is the value I have to take for N and R? Correct? Right, no? Actually, if you look at the equation, so with the help of that equation, you should be able to write this. So we'll not go in depth of that. You just remember this. How can we write this table? I'll be showing that. Okay, so this is the actual table that looks like. Okay, so now look at this. So we'll start with a zeroth row rather than the first row, because my first whatever exponent that we are going to take are the exponential part. I said it is anything raised to 0. You take any value here, raised to 0 we are going to take there. Right? So then we went for x plus y raised to 1. So that's why our row starts with 0 rather than 1 here. Is it okay? Why I am taking this as 0 instead of 1? Because the first value that I am going to get for this Pascal triangle is for the 0th value. Okay, that is exponent part is 0, not for the 1. Is it okay? Is that okay? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what is the value of 0? I mean C0? How do you write?
1.
NCR. NCR. Correct. Is it 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct, no? N factorial divided by n minus
R
r
factor.
factorial, r factorial, right? So this is n factorial, 0 factorial. 0 factorial is always 1. So 0, you have 0, both are 0, 0 minus 0, 0 factorial is again 1, r factorial, r is also 0, 0 factorial is also 1. So I'll be writing this as 1 divided by 1 into 1. So it is yielding me 1. Correct, no? Agreed for that. 0 factorial 1 is 1, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Okay. So what is the value of this again? What is the value of this? 1 C naught.
1.
1.
1,
What
ma'am.
about this? What about this?
1.
1. Correct? So what about
Yes,
this?
ma'am.
What about this?
1, ma'am.
1. What about
1.
this?
2,
2.
2, ma'am.
What about this?
1,
1.
1. What
1.
about this?
1, ma'am.
1.
About this?
3,
3, ma'am. 3, ma'am.
About this?
3,
3,
3.
ma'am.
About this?
1, ma'am.
1.
Right?
1.
About this?
1,
1.
ma'am.
1,
1. 1. 4. 4.
6,
6, ma'am. 4, ma'am.
4,
4. So last you have 4.
1,
Okay, C4. What is 4 C4?
1, ma'am.
1.
1. Okay, so are you getting the Pascal triangle over here? 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So are you saying these are the binomial coefficients over here? Are you calculating the binomial coefficients here to get the part of the Pascal triangle there? These are binomial coefficients, no? Are you agreeing for these things? Are these binomial coefficients?
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So now look at these things. So I've started with 0. So now I'll have the same thing. Okay. So what is this? So 0, right? 0, 0, right? If you go ahead with 1 there, so I have to consider both. So first I'll take 0, then I'll go ahead with 1 there. And this 1 remains as it is because I am standing on the first row. If I stand on the second row, this remains, n value remains same. What about the r value? R value is going to change. First it is 0, then 1, then it is 2. Similarly, go ahead with the third row. This is third row, then this is n value is 3. What about the r value? 0, 1, 2, 3. Is it okay? Is it okay? Because you
Yes, ma'am.
already know how to calculate you have written the program to write the binomial coefficients, right? Now we are interested to generate this particular Pascal triangle. And how can we do that? This is the easiest method that I am saying. But don't think this is the only method that is adopted. There are variety of methods to write the program to generate the Pascal tree there. Right? I am telling you one of the easiest method. Because you people have already studied how to calculate this binomial coefficient because you know this program. I wanted to write the same program, but I want along with generating these particular binomial coefficients, I am interested to print those things in the form of a particular tree there. Okay, so what we call it as particular pattern there. That's all. I'm not doing anything much there because I know how to generate the binomial coefficients. I'll be using the same thing. I'm not changing that because you already know this. N factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial. I use the same concept. Okay, but only I'll be changing the value of n and r. And how do I change this? This purely depends on which row I'm standing there. Okay, on which row I'm standing and what value I'm supposed to take there. So depending on that, I'll be making the changes. Because I already mentioned that we start the row from 0 and n value will also begin from 0 itself. So this is my n value. Okay, so n, c, r, this is my n. Then if I'm standing on a first row, okay, I have 1 over here, n I'm not changing. What is going to change? Only r value is going to change because it has started from 0th row. Okay, so it is starting from 0 to 0 and 1 there. If I stand on a second row, so value of r should start from 0, then 1, then 2. So what should be the n value? So it remains same. I'm not changing it. 2, 2, 2, but only there is a change in the r value. Okay, starting from 0, I am going to write this. Is this okay? Only r value is changing, n value is remaining same. Or in which row you are standing, so that value will be the n value there. If you are standing on a 0th row, so the value of n will be 0 itself. And row is going to change from 0 to, so whatever value or whatever row you are standing on. If I am standing on the first row, if you are standing on the first row, okay, this is the logic that I am trying to explain you. Okay, if you are standing on the first row, so in that case, n remains as it is. N is this, in which row you are standing. It remains same. What is changing? Only the r value is changing. R value is what? R value starts from 0 and till what value it is going to take? Till n value that you are taking, or till on which row you people are standing there. If you are standing on 1, so it ranges from 0 to 1. If you are standing on second row, again n value will be on which row you are standing, it is 2 itself. But if you look at r value, it is going to range from 0 to 2 there. Is it okay? Is it okay, students?
Yes, ma'am.
I need your response. Okay. Okay. So now try to answer or try to, okay, so now analyze the program that we people are going to write. Okay. In the similar fashion, whatever I have explained, in the similar fashion, I'll be writing the program there. N value is, we are picking the n value depending on which row I am standing on. First, you have to mention how many rows you want. Right, that you have to mention. You will be mentioning that. There is no issue. If you say you want 4 row, okay, so 4 row, it start from again 0 to, I'll say it is 3. So first row is 0, second row is 1, third row is 2, and fourth row is 3. Okay, till here you will be getting the Pascal triangle there. Okay, because you have mentioned it as 4 there. So how many rows you want? 4 rows. Start from 0 there. So 0, again if I take first 0 there, so this is my n value and r value will range from 0 to n there. What is n? N I have taken initially the where in which row I am standing there. Then afterwards n is going to change. I am standing on the second row there, that is first one here. Okay, so this is second row, right? It is equal to 1 there. Then what is the value of r? R has to change from 0 to n. What is n? N is 1. Is it okay? Is this okay, students? So afterwards, whatever calculation you people have done, okay, I'll be writing the same thing there. So shall we begin with the program now? Shall we move towards the program?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll go ahead with the program now. So look at these things, right? So how many factorial you have to find out? How many factorial you have to find out? To calculate. What is your interest? Don't look at the program. You just tell me according to that will work. Okay, what you're supposed to find out of this? Because I'm interested to draw Pascal triangle. How do I draw? What value I have to write here? If I write like this, what are these values corresponding to? How do I get these values? Anyone of you? Just now I mentioned, how do I get these values?
By factorial.
What are these values?
Coefficients.
Correct, no? How do I write those coefficients? These are binomial coefficients, I already mentioned. Okay, I wrote this as C0, C0. Then I wrote this as, because I'm standing on the first row, this is 1, C0. So this is again standing on a first row, C0, 1. R is going to change from, okay, 0 to 1 there. Then I've written 1 to 1. Is it 1 to 1?
Yes.
The next row is 1 to 1. Okay, so what is this then? So I'm standing on 0 first and second row now. How do I write? What is the coefficient value?
2C0.
2C0, very good. For this,
2C1.
2C.
very good. What about this?
2C2.
2C3.
Correct. So this is what we are supposed to do. We are finding the coefficients, right? Binomial coefficients. And you already know the formula to find the binomial coefficient. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct, no? Okay, what is the formula to find binomial coefficient? If I write generally,
N
NCR, n factorial divided
Divided by
by
1 minus
n minus r factorial. Okay, r factorial. So I need all these factorials, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So I have to define those things, no? I have to tell these are the factorial that I am supposed to find there. Correct? So that's why I have to define these things. Fact of n, fact of r, fact of n minus r. Is it okay? Is these variables are okay with you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so next you have to talk about how many rows you are interested to enter, because you have to tell me. Okay, so how many rows you want to display for the Pascal triangle. If you don't mention, I am unable to draw, right? So that's what we are mentioning. So this is row is required, and other variables that usually we use these things inside the for loop, right? Okay, so n, r, c, all these things, k, will be using those things inside our programming. Let's begin with. So now what we are doing? So I am asking you people to enter the number of rows you wish to see in the Pascal triangle. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next. So I'm going to read that. So what is the thing that you have to remember in case of printing the pattern there? If you are interested to print a pattern, okay, if this is a pattern that I am interested to print, something like this. So what I have to remember? Mention the things. Okay. How do you print a pattern? I have mentioned, I have told you the trick of writing the Okay, the triangles, patterns. Didn't I mention about the trick to write the or print the pattern there? Say it fast. Because I have to take at least one example to show the working of this. If you take too much of time, then it's not possible. How do you print the pattern? I've already mentioned how many for loops you require. How many for loops do you require?
4, ma'am.
Pardon? Little louder. I am unable to hear. How many for loops?
4.
Why 4?
No,
To
ma'am,
forget.
3.
Okay, so 3 means outer for loop talks about. Outer for loop talks about. What did I mention? You have to remember that, because if you are really interested to face, if you want to get a job, okay, then if you want to be a part of a software engineer or a software company there, so they will ask these kind of questions. They'll tell you people, they'll just throw you the pattern and they'll tell you people to write the program for that. Within known time, you have to write the answer for that. And these are the questions that will be asked in the competitive exams also. I am again and again I am mentioning, and I have given the trick for that also. And I showed you two actually different trees also. One number tree I have shown it to you people, one star tree I have shown it to you people. And I told the logic behind that.
Ma'am,
It is
leave the
nest. First one is outer loop talks about.
living spaces.
Inner loop talks about. First inner loop talks about the first loop inside the inner loop talks about the leaving the spaces. What about the outer space? What it talks about? Many times I mentioned you people, you are not supposed to forget that. I told you people, if you look at this stuff here, so this always talks about how many rows you are interested to print there. On which row you are standing, it always talks about. And if in which row you are standing, how many spaces you are supposed to leave for that particular row, and what you are interested to print that particular row there. This is how it works. And I mentioned it many times. Before I conclude yesterday's thing, I told you about this also. So it is a nested looping statement. Outer loop talks about the number of rows, and you have to use two inner loops. One inner loop is talking about what we call it as the number of spaces there, and what character you are interested to print is told by another loop found inside the outer for loop there. This is my outer for loop. Haven't I mentioned about this in the last class? Say something, students. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now look into this now. Now tell me, how many loops? How many loops? Make it fast, students. Again and again I am saying you. How many loops? Again you are going ahead with nesting, correct, no? You're
Yes,
going
ma'am.
ahead. Okay, so
Yes,
the
ma'am.
outer loop talks about
Number of rows.
number
Number of
of
rows
rows,
which we have.
correct? But in this case I said number of rows should begin from
0.
0.
0.
Okay, that you are not supposed to forget. I already told, right? Okay. Next 0 to whatever row you have mentioned there, till that it has to execute. This is the outer for loop. So now inside this I'll be using two for loops. One for loop for,
Living spaces.
very good,
Leaving
leaving
spaces,
the
ma'am.
spaces, right? How many spaces? How do you take care of that? I've given you the equation for that. How do you take care of that? How do you leave the space? Yesterday only I have told, no? If it is star, 4 stars, 4 lines you are printing, then star, 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 then star, 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 star. How many spaces you are leaving for the first case?
Number of rows minus.
Correct, no? That's what you are supposed to write here, right? So we wrote that. So how many spaces you are leaving there? So if I take any variable for this, so it should start from the number of rows, okay, and this should be greater than what we call it as whatever value we have taken for this. Okay, what is this outer loop is there? So till that, if I take it as I, so greater than that value. So there I have written greater than or equal to because it was starting from 1 there. Here it is starting from 0. You can simply write it as greater than I there. Right? Then write it as C minus minus. Is it okay? So this is helping me to leave the number of spaces. Every time the number of spaces are going to reduce. Correct? For the first case, the number of spaces are more. Okay, if you are standing on the first row or a 0th row there, if there are 4 lines that you are interested to print, then you have to leave 4 spaces for the first case. If you are standing on second, then this is 4 space, then 3 space. Then if you are standing on second, then it is 2 spaces. Then if you are standing on the fourth, that is third row, that is the last row because it starts from 0 here. Then you have to leave only 1 space over here. Is it okay? Is it okay, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is what we people have discussed in the previous class. Okay, first one is talking about the number of spaces. Okay, so next one, next for loop is
Interested character.
correct, no? So what is your interest of, what is the character that you are supposed to print now in a Pascal triangle?
Coefficients.
Coefficients, binomial coefficients, correct? So now
Yes.
binomial coefficients you are supposed to print and you know the value of n and r there. What is n? So on which row you people are standing, that gives me the n value. What about r? R always begins from 0 and ends at whatever value it has started given for this particular n there. So 0 to n. R is ranging from 0 to n here. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Okay, so inside this, what you are supposed to do, what it is going to do, this for loop is going to find the coefficients, correct? No? How do you find the coefficient? How do you find the binomial coefficient? So you have to find n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial. So you have to write 3 for loops to find this particular value. So it should have 3 for loops, correct? To find the NCR value. Agreed?
Yes, ma'am.
Agreed for this? Okay, so now have outer for loop. This talks about the number of rows or on which row presently I am standing and till how many rows I have to be there in the particular row there, right? So how many, how many rows I am supposed to print. So that is told by the outer for loop. So next you are talking about how many spaces I am supposed to leave for the particular row I am standing on. If I am standing on 0th row, how many rows, how many spaces I am supposed to leave. So that is the second for loop. The third for loop, I'll be talking about the same thing. So this for loop, okay. So this for loop is telling me, because I already told it, start from 0 and it is going to end at whatever value I have started. In which row you are standing? I've already mentioned about this. In which row you are standing? Okay, so that is n here, right? So this 0 is r value. Okay, if you are standing on the first row, so this is going to range from 0 to 1. So this is my n value, right? So this is this is n and this is my r is equal to 0 and r is equal to 1. So 0 to 1. So till what value r should vary? So till n value r should vary there. This is what I was saying there. So here I have taken the same thing. So 0 to n. If I am standing on the first row, that is 0th row, right? So how many times, how many values I am going to suppose to print here?
One value.
One value, no? What is that one value? What is the n value in this case? If I am standing on a first row, it is 0. N is equal to 0, right? What is R value? R is equal to 0. Okay, what is the value that I am going to print here?
1.
1. How do I get this? 0, C, 0. Correct, no?
Yes,
NCR.
ma'am.
Right? 0, C, 0. That's what I am doing here. So afterwards, N becomes, it is incremented there. Sorry, R is incremented. I am going to get this as 1. But N is not less than or equal to 0 there. So I am coming out of that. So I am not printing other than 1 on the first line there. Agreed?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So this is helping me to, you already know what it is going to do. Is it finding the fact, the binomial coefficient? Is it finding the binomial coefficient?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Agreed for that? Agreed, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then afterwards, once I print that, okay, first I am printing 1. Then I have to go to the next line. So that's what I am doing. After coming out of the particular, this loop. Okay, so this particular loop. Okay, one loop is already here. Right, so this is another loop. Then next statement will be my print statement. That print ln, so that I can come and print the data on the next line here. Again go back and do the incrementation of for loop. That is outer for loop. Then n becomes equal to 1 there, and depending on that, again you leave the spaces there. Again you do the calculation of the factor, the binomial coefficient again. Okay, so how many values you are supposed to print? So it is there in the given for loop there. Then afterwards you have to leave a line, again increment and go at the next row. So this is how we are going to print the stuff. Is it okay? So I'll take simple example to explain the same thing. But your cooperation is very much needed for me. How fast answer you give, so depending on that, I can do the things faster. Okay, so let's go ahead with this. I'll be reading very small value. Can I read it as 3?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I am going to take this value now. N is equal to 0. So 0. Row is. You have to answer
3.
fast. That's what I'm saying. 3. Okay. Then, so is it true? Is 0 is less than 3?
Yes, ma'am. True.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll go inside the loop now. Check for C. So C is 3 here. Sorry, row is 3 here. Right. So C is also 3 now. So this is 3. What is N value?
0.
0. Right. Is 3 is greater than 0 there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. True.
Yes. What should I do now?
Print spaces.
Print space.
Yes.
Shall I print space here?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. So decrement the C value. So C is decremented now. It is 2 now. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Come back here again. So check for this. Is this 2 is greater than 0?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
should I do?
Leave space.
Leave space. Decrement this. Come back here. Check for this. 1 is greater than 0.
Yes, ma'am.
So what should I do?
Leave space.
Leave
Leave space. Decrement this. Is 0 is greater than 0?
false, ma'am.
False. What should I do?
Come out of the loop, ma'am.
Come out
Next
of
loop.
the loop. Okay, I'll go ahead with the next loop now. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
What is R? R is initialized to 0. This is also 0. What is N value?
0.
N value. What is N value?
0.
0.
0. Okay, so it is 0 here. I'll write it here. Okay, 0. Next. So you have to find the factorial now. Okay, I'll not go again. I'll not repeat these things because you already know this is nothing but n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial. right? So what is the n value in this case? Right?
0.
Fast. R 0, everything is in front of you. 0
0.
factorial divided by 0 factorial into 0 factorial. What is the value you are expecting here?
1.
1. Okay, so that's you are going to print here. What you are going to print?
1, ma'am.
1. Is it okay? So this is giving me what we call it as 1 here. So I'll be printing that 1 here. Is it okay, everybody? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then what should I do? Again come back here. Increment the value of, okay, increment the value of r. R is equal to 1 now. Okay, is 1 is less than or equal to 0?
Yes, ma'am. True.
Is 1 is less than or equal to 0?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it true?
No, ma'am.
No. Correct, no? Is it
Yes, ma'am.
false? What should I do? What should I do? Hello, too much disturbance is there. Okay. Okay. What should I do? Is it true or false? 1 is less than or equal to 0. False. What should I do?
Come out of the loop.
Come out of the loop. Okay, I'm coming out of the loop and I'm printing the new line character. So meaning is that I have to come to the next line here. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Then again come back to the outer loop now. So I'm incrementing this now. N is incremented. Okay, so I'll just rub all these things. Okay, so I'll write this again for you all. So this is 1, 2, 3 spaces and 1 I have written. I have come to the next line there. Okay, so now 1 n plus is 1 now. So this is 1 now. Row is, I have read it as 3 now. Okay. Is 1 is less than 3?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, this is 3 and this is 1. How many times spaces will be printed?
2 times.
2 times. Is it agreeable? Because 3 to 1. 1 is not considered because this value is greater than this value. So 3 and 2. Whenever 3 and 2 C value is there, so that time spaces are printed. Once C becomes equal to 1, I am coming out of the loop. So that's why only 2 times spaces are printed there. Next, go ahead with this. Tell me, this is 0 again. So n value is 1 now. So this is 0 is less than or equal to 1. Sorry, yes, 1. 0 is less than or equal to 1.
Yes, ma'am. True.
Yes. Okay. What is the value of NCR now? So n is what is the n?
1,
1.
1.
C is R is
0,
0. 1 C 0. What is this value?
1.
1.
ma'am.
Right? So it's going to print that value. Is it okay? So it is going to print that value. So is it okay to everybody? So it is going to print that value.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, it is coming back to this loop now. So this is incremented. R has become 1 now. Is 1 is less than or equal to 1? 1 is less than or
False,
equal
ma'am.
to 1? 1 is less
Yes,
than
ma'am.
or equal to 1? True or false?
True, ma'am.
True. Then what I am supposed to find? 1 C 1. Correct now? Is it okay? What is n value? NCR. What is n value?
1, ma'am.
1. What is R value?
1,
1. What is 1C1 then?
2, 2, ma'am.
1C1. 1C1 is what?
1, ma'am.
1.
4,
Correct, no?
ma'am.
Is it okay? Then it is going to print the same thing here. So it's going to print 1 here. Is it okay?
Yes,
Say
ma'am.
something. Okay, come back here again. Okay, so go to the loop there. Increment the value of this r. Now r is 2. 2 is less than or equal to 1?
False, ma'am.
False. What should I do? I should
Come
come
out
out
of
of
the
the
loop.
loop
Exit loop.
and go ahead with the println statement. That is, I have to go to the next line there. So I'm going ahead with the next line there. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next, go ahead with this. N is incremented. So it is 2 now. So I'll write this as 2. 2 is less than 3.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
True.
Yes, I'll enter into the loop now. So C is 3. What is N value?
True, ma'am.
2. Right? Okay. So now 3 is greater than 2.
Yes, ma'am. True.
How many times I have to leave the spaces here? Or how many
1 time.
spaces I am supposed? Only 1 time?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Right? Okay. So then after this I am coming out of the loop and going ahead with the next for loop here. So look at this now. Right? Check for the values. Okay. So this is n is what? What is the value of n?
True, ma'am.
2.
2. What is the value of r? R is 0. 0 is less than or equal to 2?
True.
True. So what is the
Yes,
value
ma'am.
that you are going to print?
1.
What is NCR? Is it 2C0?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
What is this value?
1.
1, ma'am.
1. So that we are going to print here. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll be printing the same thing here. Right? Then come back here. Again increment the value of R. R has become 1. Now this is 1. 1 is less than or equal to 2?
Yes, ma'am. True.
Yes. What should I do? Again 1 NCR. What is the N value?
True, ma'am.
C. Sorry, R.
1.
1.
1. 2C1 is
True, ma'am.
2.
2. What I am going to print now?
2.
2. So I'll be printing 2 now. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay. So next, go back to this. Next, increment this. So this is 2 now. 2 is less than or equal to 2? True or false?
True, ma'am.
What should I do? I have to calculate again NCR. N is what?
True, ma'am.
R is
True, ma'am.
2. What is this value?
1, ma'am.
1. So I'll be printing the same thing now. Right? So I'll print the same thing. So now I'm going to print 1 here. Is it okay? Is it the Pascal triangle itself? 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1? Is it a Pascal triangle that you are getting there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next. Afterwards, increment the value of this. Now it is 3 now. Right? This is 3 now. Is 3 is less than or equal to 2? Is 3 is less than or equal to 2?
No, ma'am. False.
No. False. I should leave a line and go back to the original outer loop there. Right? So now I'm leaving a line here. Right? Okay. So I'll come back here. I'll increment the value of I here. Okay. Sorry, N here. This is 3. Now 3. 3 is less than 3?
No, ma'am. False.
No. What should I do? 3 is not less than 3. Correct. This is not true. What should I do?
Simply come out of the loop, ma'am.
I have to come out of the loop now. Correct now? So I'm coming out of the loop. After coming out of the loop, I have to return back to the operating system. So what I got? So this is the thing that 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, fourth space. I am 1 here. Then 1. Okay. So then 1. Then I have 1, 1, 2 spaces. Only 1 space. Then 2, 1. This is how the Pascal triangle is printed here. Is it okay? So this is the simplest way I have represented or I have okay, depicted about the Pascal triangle there. There are many ways. Okay, again and again I am saying this is not the only way to find the Pascal triangle. There are many ways to write the Pascal triangle. Why I took this, I am saying you because I have already told you how to find the coefficient of a binomial coefficient of a given n and r value there. So that's why I use the same concept and I generated the Pascal tree using this concept. Is that okay, students? There are many ways to write the program. This is not the only way. Many ways to write the program. This is one way I showed it to you people. Clear? If you know the formula, you people can apply the formula to generate the binomial coefficients and you can print those things. Clear? Say something, students. Hello? Are you there, students? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So I'll just show you the stuff. Okay. So I'll just run and I'll show it to people about the same thing. There are many ways. Okay. So I have actually 2-3 ways I have written actually. I'll show you the same thing what I have shown it to. I've shown it in on the board there. Now what is this? Pascal triangle, no? NCR. The same thing, whatever I've explained, I've written the same thing here. I've not done any changes in that. All right. Okay. I'll just execute that. Okay. So it is asking you enter the number of rows you wish to see in the Pascal triangle. How many rows you want? First I'll show you 3. Then I'll go ahead with other values. Is this okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Next to go ahead with other stuff. Okay, so I'll show. Now I'll say 6 rows. Okay, look at the 6 rows. So the last row is x plus y raised to 5. You can check it out. So you'll get the same pattern. Okay. So if you remember the Pascal triangle, it's very easy for you people to expand any of the expressions. Okay. So if you know this kind of stuff, so it's very easy. Okay. So writing only, fewer things is very easy for us. Okay. So that's why many people will remember this Pascal triangle. Whenever you ask, power of any 2 variables there, they are able to, write the values for that. Okay, so x plus y raised to 2, if you ask them, so they know x square plus 2xy plus y square. Okay, they are able to write that x plus y whole raised to cube. Okay, so that is x cube plus 3 x square y plus 3 xy square plus, okay, y cube. So this is how usually they'll write. If you know the Pascal triangle, it's very easy for you people to write that. So any queries related to the students?
Oh, ma'am.
Okay, so this is actually all about your second module. Okay, I have solved as much as possible the what we call it as the uh, programs, right? So I've taken so many examples on this, right? So still have any problems with you people? So you can bring out those things, right? So we people can discuss.